in the Art Scroll, page 590, and in the Koren, page 309. One more time. The Art Scroll, 590.
Yeah.
The Koren, 309. Rabbi Alex started off with, you did never.
the David.
Okay, I'm starting. Page 590 in Art Scroll. Yedid
Nefesh Avorat Amon Yarutz Avdecha Imo Ayo Ishtachaveh Elmul Hadarecha
What is this saying?
They're not together.
Could everyone hear that?
Yes.
It works out okay?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Now, I'm going to do something now that is outside of my comfort zone. And I'm really not qualified to do it.
Oh, we're sure you are, Rabbi.
No,
I second.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody else. So you'll excuse me for doing that. It's only for a couple of minutes. Okay. Now, This is a tune to L'Chadodi that I think is very beautiful if somebody else is singing it. But it's something that's very meaningful to me, and I hope it will be meaningful to you. And if you do want to follow along or sing along, in the Art Scroll, page 316, in the Koren, page 319. L'chadodi likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla, L'chadodi likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla, Shama b'zachar b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el ham yuchad, Adonai echad,
L'shem
echad, Shemu Tiferes v'Lisila, L'chadodi likras kala, Shabbos nekabla, likras Shabbos lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekar habracha, merosh mikedes sucha, sof ma'aseh machshavot tchila, L'cha adodi likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla, Hay mikdash melech ir melucha, Komitzi mitoch hafecha, Rav loch sheves b'yemek habacha, V'hu yachmol alayich chemla, L'cha adodi likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla, Hisnari me'afar komi, livshi b'gdei sifartechami, Ayad ben Yishai beis halachmi, Karbo el nafshi Allah, L'cha adodi likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla, Hisareri, Kivarech kumiori, Ori, shir daveri, Kavod Adonai, alayich nigla.
You have Joey Strait. You have a lot of people here. You have a lot of people.
Likras kala, P'nei Shabbos nekabla. Okay, so now you're all back on. Now, Rabbi Alex, I'm going to ask for your help.
Okay.
Let's turn from the Koren to page 345. In the Art Scroll, page 336. 1 second, I need to get the page. We sing this every Friday night here to Daf, for Shamru. And 1 second. Koren 345, Art Scroll 336. Rabbi Alex, would you please lead us in V'shamru?
Okay.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es Hashavos Asas es Hashavos V'darasa ובין בני ישראל עשיתי לעולם שש ימים עשה השמיים וסורץ וביום השביעי Shabbat Okay, so now I'm going to mute everyone except for Rabbi Alex, and I'm going to ask Rabbi Alex to share a short Dvar Torah. But before I do so, I just want to make one announcement. First, a couple of announcements. First of all, after we finish, after Shabbos, I would appreciate any feedback you have to this. We're new at it. We're trying to learn how to do it. And any suggestions you have, we would appreciate. That's number one. Number two, we will be together tomorrow night for Havdalah, 8 p.m. Please join in. I sent out an email that has the login information. And please join us for Havdalah tomorrow night. I will turn it over now to Rabbi Alex.
Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos. So I was going to say something on this week's Parsha. It's right before the third Aliyah. I don't know if anyone has a Chumash next to them, but if you have a Chumash, you can find it. It's chapter. It's Perek. It's right before Shlishi Pasuk Chav Zayin. Chapter 35, Pasuk 27, Pasuk Chav Zayin. And the Pasuk tells us, Banasiyim Heviu, the Nasiyim, they bought the heads of each tribe, the leaders, they bought the two stones, they bought the Avnei Shoyam and the Avnei Miluim, they bought the Shoam stones and the filling stones for the ephod, for the apron, and for the breastplate. And Rashi says, if you look at the word, it's missing a yud on the word Nasiyim. On the end of the word, it's Vav Hey Nun Sin Aleph, and there's no yud. It's just mem. So Rashi says something very interesting. Rashi brings Rav Nos, and Rashi says that over here the Nasiyim they thought that everyone should bring first whatever they've got to bring for the temple, for all the different materials. And the leaders, they'll bring at the end, whatever's left over, and there was nothing left over. They just bought the stones, but everything else was bought already. And later on, when they built it, and this was a mistake, they shouldn't have did this. When they built the Mishkan, and they built the Mizbeach, and they built the altar, they were the first ones to bring the sacrifice. Like we see in the Mizbeach, they were the first. So it seems, what was their calculation? So basically, sometimes in life, the struggle between evil and good and evil is sometimes it's pretty easy to know what's good and what's bad, what you should and what you shouldn't do. Sometimes the choices between two things, apparently two actions, which both seem to be the right thing, the right action, but it's difficult to make the right choice, what's right and what's wrong. It's difficult. Sometimes the right choices are easy, sometimes they're difficult. And this week's parsha was a difficult one. They had a calculation. Should they bring it at the beginning and set an example for everyone? Everyone should see they're the first ones to do it. Or should they wait to see what's left over and they'll bring it at the end? And obviously they made the wrong calculation. And later on they made up for it when they built the Mishkan and they built the Mizbeach. They made up and they bought it first. So I was thinking to myself, this is very applicable to today's times because sometimes you have two choices to make and they both seem the right choice, but one of them is right and one of them is wrong. In today's times, we we have to make difficult choices. Should we leave the house? Should we not leave the house? Should we visit somebody? Should we not? Should we stay away? And sometimes the choice is difficult, but we have to hope to Hashem that we make the right choices and we stay safe to the people around us and to our family. Good Shabbos.
Yeah, Shagaya. Very nice. Beautiful. All right. So I'm very glad that Rabbi Alex had Dvar Torah on the Parsha. I would like just to finish with a story. And I think that it's a story that is particularly relevant in these days. We're in unprecedented times. We are engaged in unprecedented activities. And perhaps this story will be meaningful and helpful. So this is a story that I heard from Rabbi Melech Biederman. And the story is about a man, it's a true story, about a man named Rabbi Shimon Schwartz, who lives in Israel, a religious man. And one day in the summer, Rabbi Schwartz, Shimon, he promised his children that he would take them swimming. Promised he would take them to a swimming pool. But you know how it is. He was very busy and he was running late. And by the time they got to the swimming pool, it was close to the closing time. So Shimon went to the owner when they came into this pool. He went to the owner and he said, "How late are you open? I want to make sure to find out how long my kids have to swim." And the owner said, "Well, we close at 8 p.m., but you have to get out of the pool. I'm sorry. We close at 8:15 p.m., but you have to get out of the pool at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, everybody out of the pool." Okay, that's the rule. They had time to swim. Shimon and his children are swimming in the pool. Fine, everything's going well. They're having a great time. At 7:45, the lifeguard says to the people in the pool, "You have to get out because we're closing at 8 o'clock. So everybody out of the pool at 7:45. So Shimon gets very upset. "What do you mean? I asked the owner specifically. The owner said specifically that we have until 8 o'clock before we have to get out of the pool. Why are you telling me to get out of the pool at 7:45? My kids are here. I came late. They're having a good time. And you should not make them get out." And he starts to argue and he gets very upset. And he gets very angry and a little bit heated. And he's arguing back and forth with the lifeguard until finally Shimon says to himself, "You know what? It's not right to make a machlokas. It's not right to argue about this. It's a good habit to give in sometimes, even if you're right." He was right because the owner did say it's supposed to stay open till 8 o'clock. But sometimes it's good to be mavater, to give in, not to create a machlokas. So he tells his kids, "Okay, 7:45, we're getting out of the pool." Fine. They all get out of the pool. As they're leaving, the lifeguard notices in the pool that there's a little boy under the water in the pool. So the lifeguard jumps in and the boy is never unconscious, and the lifeguard pulls him out. He's not breathing. They call Hatzalah. They're working on him, CPR. They're doing everything. They call an ambulance. They rush him to the hospital for 10 minutes. The boy was unconscious. They rushed him to the hospital, into the emergency room, and Baruch Hashem, thank God, the doctor saved his life. He was okay. He was healthy. No damage. No lasting impact. Amazing. Thank God. And it was Shimon's son. It was Shimon's son that was the boy under the water. Now listen to this. At the hospital, the doctor said to Shimon, said, "You know that doctors know that a person can go for a certain number of minutes." I don't know the exact number and I don't want to pretend that I'm a doctor, but let's just say it's 10 minutes. I'm not sure that's the number, but let's say a person can go for 10 minutes unconscious, not breathing, and still be able to be resuscitated and revived under these circumstances. But a minute over 10, permanent damage, lasting permanent damage, God forbid. And you came in, you resuscitated this boy right at the last second. Had one more minute passed, Nebuch, God forbid, a terrible tragedy would have happened. But thank God it didn't happen. And the boy was fine, went home, family's okay. The boy is alive and well, and he's doing fine. Now, then Shimon tells this story to Rabbi Biderman. And he says as follows. He says, I realized I was arguing with the lifeguard, and I wanted to stay in the water because I was right. I was right because the owner said we have until 8 o'clock, not 7:45. I was right. And till this day, he said, I'm still right. But if I had continued to argue for one more minute, what would have happened to my son? I was right. I was absolutely right. But had I argued for one additional minute, God forbid, a terrible tragedy would have occurred. Because when we argue and when we don't give in, even when we are right, it is bad for us. And we have to remember this lesson not only at the pool, we have to remember it every minute, wherever we are. We have to live with this lesson, that even if we are right, to argue, to be involved in a machlokas, not to give in once in a while, even if we're right, it can still destroy us. So I want to wish for you, and I want to wish for me, Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbos of peace, of harmony, of giving in, of no arguing. And I wish you, I'm going to miss you. I'll miss seeing you in person, but I look forward to being together tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for Havdalah. And I wish you all stay safe, stay healthy. Shabbat Shalom.